Hello good people of YouTube, Mountbound here, and today I'm bringing you my second impressions video for the Tier 8 American Premium Battleship, Massachusetts. And for those of you that didn't see my first impressions video, I have a secondary build on this ship. My modules are Magazine Mod 1, Damage Con 1, Secondary Mod 2, Damage Con Mod 2, and Concealment. My captain skills are Preventive Maintenance, MLG Turrets, BFT, and AFT. A couple things I neglected to mention in my first impressions video is that referring to the differences between Massachusetts and Alabama. Massachusetts has a 46% torpedo damage reduction, lower than Alabama's 55%, but still a very high torpedo damage reduction for a Tier 8 battleship. Also, its AA rating, while I don't have an AA build on the ship, like I said, I do have a secondary build, and BFT and AFT do bump that number up. Its AA rating right now is 94. While I'm sure if you went with an AA build, you can easily get it over to 100. So, in this video, I've played, about 15-20 games in the Massachusetts. I want to talk about some of the problems I've encountered, some of the good things. So let's get started. This game right now, this is a Tier 8 game. This is one of the few Tier 8 games I have had in Massachusetts. And that's where the first problem comes in. This is, of course, a Tier 8 premium. And Tier 8s usually get up to Tier 10 pretty often. And I would say the majority of the games that I've played in between yesterday and today have been Tier 9 and 10 games. Tier 9's not so bad. Tier 10's pretty rough. And the reason for that being is Massachusetts's that's a tongue twister, range is 18.3 kilometers. While at Tier 8, that's fine. Tier 9, that's fine. Tier 10, because at Tier 8, you're with a bunch of other Tier 8 ships. Only a couple of ships have a range greater than that. And even if they choose to fire at that range, their fire usually isn't very accurate. Tier 9, same thing. A lot of ships at Tier 9 can shoot past 20 kilometers, and some of them are more accurate than others, but you don't have any Yamatos or Montanas yet. I was pretty accurate at that range. Ismo, good God, I've never hit anything at that range with Ismo. I mean, I'm sure I have. It's not Yamato accurate. So, and with the 46% torpedo damage reduction, you don't really have to worry about destroyers too much. I mean, as long as you Citadel, that North Carolina right there. As long as you're being aware of where you're at, obviously getting spotted, smoke popping up, and have your spotter plane or fighter plane going up and around, you'll be okay for torpedoes. And the ship's pretty maneuverable anyway, so you can get some sweet torpedo beats in there. But at Tier 10, the ship really does feel lacking. But of course, any Tier 8 at Tier 10 is going to feel like that. It stings a little bit more that it's a premium ship that feels lacking at Tier 10. Citadel, that Alabama right there. Massachusetts is very good at citadeling its own kind. But even at Tier 10, so if you can get in close, which for those of you that play, high tier matches, Tier 9, Tier 10 matches, Tier 10 especially, the first good half of the match is just a really big staring contest at 20 kilometers away. So when you're in Massachusetts and you can't shoot over 20 kilometers away, you kind of just have to sit back and wait until the herds thinned out a little bit. Now you can, if you want to, kind of try to push up close, but I have the concealment module on my Massachusetts right now. Its detection range is still 14 kilometers. Now that's not bad or anything. It's just not wonderful. Now, if you get the concealment skill for the captain, it will go down further. But still, at Tier 10, getting that close to Tier 10 ships early on, and a Tier 8 ship isn't that good of an idea. But that's not really a problem with the Massachusetts. That's just a Tier 8 thing all in all. Really, the only Tier 8 battleship that I feel fine with taking Tier 10 is like the Bismarck. Yeah, really, it's just the Bismarck. I don't really care what, if I get up tiered in the Bismarck, it's still great. Anyway, so the good things about the ships since I've been playing are the guns, while not incredibly accurate, they are incredibly powerful. They I'm still finding that I don't hit. I mean, even if I don't hit too much with them, they still hit nice and strong. You even see later in this clip, you'll see. So while they aren't accurate, they do hit strong, and if you're firing at stuff under 15 kilometers, you can hit stuff with pretty good regularity. Like I say, the ship itself is pretty maneuverable. It's not fast. Top speed, I believe, is 27.5 knots. That really hasn't been a problem too much. The only time that has become a problem is with you get up to tier 10, and you're just slower than anything else around. That's the only time that really becomes a problem. You kind of get left behind in the pack, but like I said, you can let them go run off and all be killed first, and then you can come back and mop up the survivors. Against tier 10 ships, I don't feel that her firepower is lacking because, of course, she has 16-inch guns. And, you know, if you catch any tier 10 ship broadside, I don't care what they are, you're going to do some really nice damage to them. At tier 8 and even at tier 9, the ship feels really good. Secondaries, of course. Secondaries don't care about tier. They're just set, you know, whatever on fire. So you're good there. And the match you're watching right now, this is the only tier 8 match I had on the day that I was recording for this video. And in the first video, I kind of just show you the first couple of battles. The second person's video, I just show you one battle that I think shows off the strengths of the ship, and that's what this battle's doing so far. As you saw, I was able to hang back a little bit at the start, let them all come bonsai charging up. Me and the team went ahead and wiped them out. I've barely taken any damage at this point. But now some ships are charging at our cap point. This is, of course, standard battle on Two Brothers. Standard battle, I think, is one of the more dull game modes. I mean, some cool stuff can happen in them, but standard battle just, again, encourages that staring contest playstyle that I really don't like. So anyway, I've turned around because a pretty good chunk of their team has come up the western flank to our cap. And at the beginning of the match, it was determined that western flank was just going to hold and delay them. Eastern flank was going to push. But the western flank has fallen, so now I am returning back to the cap to help defend the cap point. And this, again, shows off some pretty good the ship's strengths. And like I said, you know, even though the top speed is only 27.5 knots, I've gone back to the cap with plenty of time to help defend the cap. There is a Normandy boarding away. Don't need to waste any shots on her. There is the new premium Canadian destroyer, Hydia. I'm not really sure how to say it. I chose not to waste my shots on the Normandy and, you know, take some shots at the Hydia. I'm gonna call it the maple syrup ship. And those shots missed, but hello, there's the Nagato right there. Japanese battleship, gotta deal with her. And you see the secondaries already tearing into her. And while they aren't doing a ton of damage, they are doing damage, which a lot of secondaries just find they shoot a ship, they don't really do too much damage. You know, you're mainly waiting for them to start a fire to do the damage. And I get a citadel from the front. I believe the 16-inch guns are large enough to overpin the bow armor of the Nagato. I believe the Nagato is a tier 7 or a tier 6 ship. I don't really remember the Japanese line that well. It wasn't my favorite grind, and the ships in the line weren't too memorable. In my opinion, at least. I mean, they weren't bad or anything, they just weren't too memorable. From the Congo until you got to the Ismo, each one was just a bigger Congo. Anyway, fire another volley at the Nagato, finish her off. So that leaves the maple syrup ship, and I believe another Japanese destroyer is over here. Oh, and, well, matchmaking decided to have some humor and throw in Atlanta on the other team. So now I'm getting HQ spanned by the Atlanta, the HMCS Maple Syrup, and another Japanese destroyer over there. So, in the situation, I, of course, you know, the Massachusetts has really good secondaries, and there's two destroyers in front of me, and the Atlanta over there, so I can really just let the secondaries just do their work here. And of course they open up on the Atlanta. I don't think I can get a shot on there with my main batteries, but the secondaries don't give a crap. So they start going. The HMCS Maple Syrup makes her appearance right here, but then she decides to go back behind that island. I can't get a shot on her with my forward guns just yet. And then the Atlanta starts showing me some HE love. And keep a note, I'm at almost full health here, and wait till you see what I'm at after. Fire at the HMCS Maple Syrup. Get a devastating strike on her somehow. I thought I mag-deaded her, but I just got 2 pins, so... What? You know, normally even if you get pins like that on a destroyer, they don't do too much damage, but I got 2 pins and took an almost full health HMCS Maple Syrup down to dead. And boy, woo! Remember I said the ship was maneuverable? I really thought I was about to take a Maple Syrup bottle to my bow right there. That scraped the paint off the hull. Dang, that was close. So now that the HMCS Maple Syrup is down, there is still another destroyer around here. Oh, there it is. Akazuki. Again, I watched this back in Shotcut, which is like 4DP, so I can't really read the shipment names. My destroyer recognition is not that good. 2 hits to her broadside does some overpins. Try to do some more torpedo beats here, but whoa. Take 1 to the bow. That, of course, did not hit the torpedo protection, so I took the full damage of that torpedo, which is 13,000 hit points. So it took a big chunk of my health away. And now that forced me to use my damage control, so any fires that get set here will stick. However, American battleships have this really nice and long damage control that when it's active, you will not catch on fire. However, that just went inactive, and now I'm continuing to get HE spammed by the lovely Atlanta back there, and the Akazuki, who has gone dark. No, actually, Akazuki's been sunk by someone else, my bad. So there's an Atlanta and a, what's that British ship's name? Not Congo. You'll see it here in a second. Anyway, Atlanta sets a fire on me. My damage count is not off cooldown, however my repairs are, so I just burn my repairs to offset the burning damage of the fire. Now, again, this is why I say you absolutely need to have a survivability build on this ship after you get down with your secondary build plus adrenaline rush, because the HE spam is just such... It's worse now than it's ever been. And you certainly need that build, otherwise you will just find yourself burning to death a lot. Get some hits on the Atlanta and I get the Confederate award. Yay. I don't really care too much about getting achievements or awards or whatever they're called in the game. You know, I'm doing well, I'm doing well, I'm doing bad, I'm doing bad, no big deal. So I get detected again by the Atlanta because she's still in my detection range, and that's when the one of our cruisers decide to go one-on-one with the Fiji. I knew it was something tropical sounding. It has to go one-on-one with the Fiji, and you can probably guess who's going to win that fight. Atlanta shows up again. I take another shot at her, trying to get revenge for all of the health she has robbed me of. But I'll lead it just a little bit too much, and plus he turns a little bit, so all my shots miss. So now, I am contemplating going mid because, well, at this point, the Atlanta's probably just going to run and hide for his life, which he does. And the Fiji is either going to try to push our cap by himself or just run back to his cap and just defend. But if he wants to win, he's going to have to push our cap and somehow sink a Tar Pits, a King George V, and a Massachusetts. So I'm pretty confident that we have this in the bag, so I decided that I'm going to go mid and just go ahead and start capping and put some pressure on the Fiji to either come back to his base or rush our base. And if he comes back to his base, I'll sink him, no problem. Goes back to our base, he has to deal with the King George V and the Tar Pits, who will sink him. Hopefully. So I start going mid, and if you want to go mid on Two Brothers, you kind of want to either, you have to do it a couple minutes after the match starts, once the teams are pretty invested in the eastern and western flank, and generally you want something German to go with you, or if you have a carrier, you want your carrier to provide air cover. If there's a carrier in the game on Two Brothers, you don't even want to go mid because they're just going to dive bomb and torpedo bomb you to death. But anyway, I start pushing down mid, and the Cleveland is in hot pursuit of the Atlanta, and the King George V just hangs back. So as far as is the Massachusetts worth it, based on the games that I've played so far, I would say yes, it is. It's a fun ship. $55. You know, I think it's on sale right now. The bundle's on sale. It's normally $120. It's on sale for $80. That is the bundle that I got. I got the Massachusetts free port slot. Well, not free port slot. I pay for it. A port slot, 10-point captain, 4 million credits, a bunch of doubloons. So that was almost out of doubloons, and I'm back up to I think over 5,000. I haven't really been paying attention to it. And 4 million credits with plus a ton of flags, a ton of XP and economy flags. So I would say go ahead and get that bundle if you think about purchasing the ship. You get most of your money's worth for that bundle. If you don't have $80 to spend, you can just get the normal $55 version of the ship. And with it being a Tier 8 premium, it won't take long for your captain to get up to 10 points. It's a really fun ship if you enjoy brawling and just want an American ship that's really good at brawling. Massachusetts is definitely that. Against AP, if you angle her armor, she does fine. HE is the only real problem that the ship will face, and that's why I'd recommend a survivability build after you're done with your secondary build. Anyway, I have pushed into the enemy cap. It's just the Fiji left. The Cleveland's about to join me in the cap, and the Fiji's just kind of dancing around, probably just trying to farm some more damage off of the Tirpitz and King George V. Just so we can get, you know, some more XP and some more credits out of this battle. He's doing a pretty good job of just baiting our Tirpitz and King George to leave the cap. There's another destroyer on the team. They could probably ninja the cap, but of course it is just the Fiji. So far I'm at 97,000 health, 97,000 damage. I wasn't even going to try to shoot at him, but I'm like, hey, I want to break 100,000 damage. So I am full speed, trying to get him into, well, he's in range. I'm trying to get around this island right here so I can get at him. Oh, there he is. He is dodging the Tirpitz's torpedoes right now. There you are. He's dropping smoke, and I just take the first clear shot I get at him, and Citadel, and sink him. So that put me over 100,000 damage, 100,004 damage to be exact, after I tell Wargaming that I did in fact like that game. 104,000 damage, 8,000 XP, and this was after I already won a match with a 200% XP boost, so this is just with the economy of the ship being a premium Tier 8, and plus my premium account on top of that, and whatever bonuses the 2 achievements I got gave me. But anyway, like I said, as of right now, I do believe the Massachusetts is very much worth it. Even though it's pretty much a repainted Alabama, and I've said before, I'm not a big fan of premiums that are just repaints of other ships. The couple of changes they have made to her do give her a pretty unique playstyle in the American battleship line, because none of the American battleships are really very good at brawling, except for, you know, maybe Colorado, because it does have a good amount of secondaries, but that's the only one I can really think of. But so yeah, it's in my mind, in my opinion, it's worth it. If you want to wait for you know, after I played a lot of battles on the ship, the final impressions video will be out probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks into the summer, because the final impressions video is, I like to go for, you know, I like to get, you know, well over 50 battles in a ship before I make a final impressions video. And just depends on how much I play the ship. If I keep playing the ship like I'm playing it now, it'll probably be a couple more weeks. You know, I don't play World Warships every day. I have life, job, you know, all that good jazz. So probably 3 weeks-ish, and the final impressions video will be out. But as of right now, I very much believe the ship is worth it. I've been having a ton of fun in it. They're having some pretty good battles. Even at Tier 10, I'm still getting like 70,000 80,000 damage a battle. It's just a really fun ship to play. But anyway, guys, if you like the video, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. We're on our push to 200 subscribers. Wow, I'm really bad at English the past couple of days. When we get there, we have a 200 subscriber live stream special, just like the 100 subscriber live stream special. And that was pretty fun for everyone that was involved in it. So yeah, again, thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.